15 past. The Senate now expected to take up the foreign surveillance program known as FISA next week. Yesterday at this time, a big deal in the House. The House passed it despite some lawmakers with these concerns over Americans being spied on. My next guest says he's ready to fight this bill in the Senate, tweeting, quote, "No American should have their right to privacy taken away. Hashtag filibuster." And that person is Kentucky Senator Rand Paul, back home in Bowling Green. And Senator, a good Friday morning to you. And thanks for coming back here.
Thank you, Bill. Thanks for having me.
What is your next move, Senator?
Well, you know, if there was ever something worth filibustering, I think it would be filibustering for the Bill of Rights. What we have is a program called the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, and you're supposed to be, or the grant of power is to spy on foreigners in foreign lands. I'm all for that. We need to protect our country. But we don't use the Constitution for these foreigners. We just grab up all their information. In fact, a couple years ago, there was a report that we recorded all of the phone calls in Italy in 1 month. So we have this enormous capacity to record phone calls. It's not just who you call, but it's also the content of the phone call. In the process of this, millions of Americans are recorded in there. So if the president calls a European leader or the Russian leader, the Chinese leader, the president's phone call is recorded in this, believe it or not. If I call a foreign leader, if you call a journalist in the Fox Bureau in Europe or the Middle East, your phone call can be in this database. So there are a lot of innocent people who are in here, and it should not be searched for American data without a warrant. All we're asking is go to a judge and have some evidence to get started. Warrants aren't that difficult to get, but warrants are a check and a balance. And if you look back at every president from FDR forward, you know what? Every one of them have been accused of spying on their opponents. I mean, LBJ apparently put a bug on Goldwaters' campaign plane. Nixon was accused of using the intelligence agencies. Now we fast forward to today, and we have FBI agents, Strzok and his girlfriend, plotting at FBI headquarters to try to stop Donald Trump from being president. So I think we need more oversight of these people, not less.
Okay, now I'm a bit confused because I listened to your argument, and then I hear Paul Ryan on the floor of the House at this hour yesterday when he said the following. Roll this.
This is about foreign terrorists on foreign soil. That's what this is about. You pass the Amash Amendment and defeat this underlying bill, we go back to those days where we are flying blind on protecting our country from terrorism.
So is he right or are you right? What is it?
It's frankly, the best way I can describe what he said is disingenuous. We don't stop any of the collection of the data. We reauthorize a program. In the Amash Amendment, the Paul Wyden Amendment, we reauthorize a program. We never interrupt the collection of foreign data on foreigners. What we do is say that if Americans are accidentally caught up in it, this is about Americans. This isn't about foreigners. This is about Americans. If Americans are accidentally caught up in this, if you want to look at their stuff, you have to have a warrant. And here's the problem with Paul Ryan and his ilk and all of these people. Their reform bill actually makes it worse. In their reform bill, they say that information collected on Americans can be used for anything. Tax evasion, your grandson smoking pot somewhere, any of these minor things that happen in our country that usually are protected by the Constitution, they've gathered this information with no constitutional protection. It's awful what they want to do.
Do you filibuster next week? Because I don't think in the end you can ultimately stop it, can you?
The only way a filibuster succeeds is you have to get to 41 votes. So part of the reason you speak for a while, sometimes for a long while, but the part of the reason you make arguments is because it's an important issue. But if you can convince 41 colleagues, if 41 people will vote with me, they can't pass it. And the other side will squawk and go crazy and say the world will end if we don't pass this. What would happen if we don't pass this is we would go back to the negotiating table and we would say we want more protections for American privacy, and they would have to compromise.
Should we expect a filibuster from you next week on the floor of the Senate, yes or no?
There will be a filibuster, yes.
Oh, we shall watch for that. Quickly, yesterday you said there will be an immigration deal. You were very optimistic. Do you still feel the same given the comments that apparently were said at the White House during that bipartisan meeting yesterday?
Yeah, I still think that it's something that the Democrats are driven to want to fix for DACA. Many Republicans are willing to meet them halfway and have a compromise. And I think the Democrats acknowledge they're not going to get a fix for DACA unless they do something for border security. It's going to have to be significant border security improvements. It's going to have to involve barriers and walls. It's going to have to involve getting rid of the diversity lottery and going to a merit-based immigration where we get the best and the brightest that want to come to our country.
So your opinion
and it's going to have to involve getting rid of chain migration.
Your opinion has not changed since yesterday then, correct?
I think we still get there, yeah, if the Democrats are willing to compromise and negotiate.
Thank you, Senator. Have a good weekend. That's Rand Paul back home in Bowling Green, Kentucky. We'll see you very soon. Thank you.